let's look at our warm-up, and you are about to take a quiz. All right. So this is over the stuff we've been going over the last couple days. Okay, first thing here is parallelograms. How do we find the area of a parallelogram?
Base times height.
It's just base times height. Just base times height. Because remember we talked about that on Monday, like if you cut off, the triangular portion and slide it over, every parallelogram just turns into a rectangle. So it's just the same area formula as a rectangle, base times height or length times width, however you want to think about it. Okay, now on a triangle, like these last two, how do we find the area?
Base height over 2.
Base times height divided by 2. So don't forget that. Parallelogram is just base times height. Triangle is base times height divided by 2. Because on a triangle, you can always fit in the same triangle to make a rectangle. So that's why it's divided by 2, because the triangle is always half of the rectangle it could be made into. Okay, anyways, so on this first one, looking for the area of this parallelogram, what are we going to use for the base and height?
6 and 6.
Good. I mean, think about it like this, where 6 is the base and 6 is the height. You wouldn't use 7.4 because you don't know how tall it is here. If you knew that right here, then you could use 7.4 as the base. But since we don't know that, we can't use that. So we have to use the 6 and 6, which means the area is 36 kilometers squared. And then for perimeter, what are we going to add? 6, 6, 7.4, and 7.4. 26.8 kilometers. Okay, for number 2, we want to find the area. So base times height, what's the base of this parallelogram? 28 times what's the height? Good. We don't know. The height is going to be this little dashed line right here. And if you'll notice, we have a right triangle right here. So we're going to have to use Pythagorean theorem. And you're going to have to use Pythagorean theorem on a couple problems on your quiz. So that will be on there for sure. Okay, I'm looking for this right here. So how am I going to set up Pythagorean theorem on this one?
15 squared plus x squared
Okay, 15 squared plus x squared
equals 30 squared.
equals 30 squared. Okay, 30 is the hypotenuse, so it's the one by itself. It's the C. Okay, so we have 225 plus x squared equals 900. Subtract 225, just solving for x here. So x squared equals 675. And how do we get rid of that squared? Square root, inverses of each other. So what's the square root of 675?
26.
25.98, 26. I'm just going to go ahead and say 25.98. Come on. So there we go. Now we just found the height is 25.98. So the base is 28. The height is 25.98. So 28 times 25.98. 727.44. Okay, now for the perimeter, what am I going to be adding? 28, 28, 30, and 30. Give 116 feet. Okay, next one for the triangle. How do we find area of a triangle? Base times height divided by 2. So what's the base on this triangle? 4 times what's the height? 1.8. It tells you right there, divided by 2. 4 times 1.8 divided by 2 is what? It is 3.6 feet squared. For the perimeter, what am I going to be adding? 3.3, 2.2, and 4. And that gives us 9.5. Okay, now this last one is kind of hard to tell, but it's like this little skinny triangle right here is the shaded one. That's what we're talking about. We're looking for the perimeter and area of that little triangle right there. Okay, I'm just going to erase that though, but that's what we're looking for. Okay, so for the area, base times height divided by 2. Do I know the base of that triangle?
Yes.
It's 5. What's the height?
8.
So if I measure from the base straight up to the tallest point, that would be in line, and yep, I know how tall that is right there. It's 8. So the area is 5 times 8 divided by 2. That's going to give me 20 square inches. Okay, for the perimeter, how long is this side?
5.
How long is this side? 21.5. How long is this side?
It's unknown.
We don't know it yet. Pythagorean theorem. And that side that we're looking for is the hypotenuse. It's the longest side. So that's the C. It's the one by itself. So we're going to have 8 squared plus 15 squared equals x squared.
17.
And that's right. So you get 64 plus 225 equals x squared. 289 equals x squared. Take the square root of both sides. Square root of 289 is just an even 17. So we found that third side at 17. So now for the perimeter, what 3 numbers am I going to add?
21.5, 17,
21.5, 17,
and 5.
and 5.
And 43.5.
And it's what? 43.5?
43.
43.5? 22. Yep. Okay. All right. So today we're talking about area of trapezoid. Area of a trapezoid. Okay, you get a gold star if you remember the formula for this one. Got a couple little things going on here. Area of a trapezoid. You might remember it.
Base times last one?
Base times base times base times.
Oh yeah, base yeah.
B1
Yeah, B1 plus B2.
Plus B2. And you divide it by like.
Yep, y'all are on the right track.
Oh shoot. Okay. No, it's just guess now.
So but parentheses B1 plus B2. Oh no.
Yeah, I was not gonna go there.
Times 2.
Times
H.
over.
Over.
Times 8.
There you go. Area of a trapezoid is base 1 plus base 2, and it has to be in parentheses, times the height, all divided by 2. Now this could be written all different ways, and you'll see it all different ways, but this is the way I prefer to have it. Okay? Base 1 plus base 2 in parentheses times the height, all divided by 2. Now, how do you know which 2 sides are the bases?
This is bad.
The top. The smaller and then
There you go. The bases are the 2 sides that are parallel to each other. Okay? So B1 and B2 are the 2 sides parallel to each other. And then the height is how far it's between those 2 bases. Okay, so let's measure this and see what's up here. So let's go ahead and measure the 2 bases on this first one. So how long is this base right here? 9.3. Okay, and again, I'm saying these 2 sides are the bases because you can see these 2 sides are the sides that are parallel to each other. Now, how long is this base up here? 6.8. Okay, good. So these are the two bases, and it doesn't really matter if you say this is base 1 and this is base 2 or vice versa, whatever. These are the bases. Now, which one of these two lines right here is going to be the height? Which one of these are the height? Good. Neither of these two are the height. The height is how far it is directly between these two. So it's like 90 degrees, like perpendicular to these. So going straight between them.
3.4.
So this right here is the height. And yep, looks like it's right at 3.4. All right. So now we're just going to plug into this formula. The two bases are these two numbers, and then the height is the 3.4. So I'm going to have 6.8 plus 9.3. And again, this part right here doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I put 9.3 plus 6.8. It's going to give you the same thing. 7 plus 11 is the same thing as 11 plus 7. Okay, so we have base 1 plus base 2 now times the height of 3.4 all divided by 2.
27.3.
And it's what? Okay, good. So 27.37 centimeters squared. You just plug this whole thing in. Make sure you put that 6.8 plus 9.3 in parentheses. If you don't, you're going to get the wrong answer because your calculator is following order of operations. If you don't put it in parentheses, it's going to do 9.3 times 3.4, then add 6.8 to that. Yep, so just be careful of that. Now for perimeter, do we need to measure something else?
Yes.
Yeah, we need to measure these two legs here. All right, so how long is this one?
3.9.
About 3.9. And then how long is this?
3.5. 5, 4.
3.5. 5.
Yeah, it's kind of right between there.
3.5.
3.5.
We'll go ahead and say 3.5. So what four numbers am I going to add to get the perimeter? Yeah, but there's 5 numbers up here. So which one?
All of them but the 3.4.
Good, all of them but the 3.4. The 3.4 is the height. It's not the outside edge. So it's 3.9, 9.3, 3.5, and 6.8. So when I add those 4 numbers up, what do we get? 23.5?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Okay, good. All right, we're not going to measure all the rest of these. We've been measuring a ton already this week, but let's just talk about it. So on this one right here, which two sides are the bases?
The top and the bottom.
Ones that are left and right sides.
Yeah, on this one, the two bases are running vertically because these are the two sides that are parallel. So like this right here is base 1, this right here is base 2, and then the height would actually be that right there. All right, on this one, where's the two bases? Top and bottom, because these are the parallel sides, and then the height would be perpendicular to those two sides. That would be the height right there. Alrighty, let's talk about these two problems down here real quick.